In order to produce motion in the body, any motion, whether it's motion of walking across the street or motion of swinging a golf club, a signal about that motion enters the brain. Now there's two parts of the brain that we're going to talk about in regards to motion. One is called the prefrontal cortex, and we'll just label that as PFC, and the other is the motor system. Now, when you have that career drive, or that pure iron shot, or that career round when you're just striking the ball so solid, what's happening is that signal is going right to the motor system. And it's the motor system which communicates with the body to produce motion. The problem occurs when the prefrontal cortex intercepts the signal. And then it's delayed in moving to the motor system. And then in the middle of the motion, the body is looking for direction from the brain, from the mind. The direction is not forthcoming. So what happens is the bulkier core muscles take over, and that's when you get too quick at the top. Or that's when you muscle the ball. Or that's when you can't release the club and you hold on to it. So the whole key in producing motion, after you've practiced the motion successfully enough times, is to not have the prefrontal cortex intercept that signal. Now, if you sat down with 100 great athletes and you asked them how they felt when they played their best, you can divide all of their responses into three themes, three categories. One, time slowed down. I had all the time in the world. It felt like everything was moving in slow motion. I had that club at the top of the swing, and I felt like I can go to McDonald's, get a Big Mac, come back, and still find the slot on the way down. You know that feeling. Time, the experience of time, is controlled by neurons in the prefrontal cortex and neurons in the motor system. When the prefrontal cortex intercepts the signal, captures it, the neurons in the prefrontal cortex will overshadow the neurons in the motor system, and you have to experience time as a rush. You don't have a choice. It's a neurophysiological phenomenon. No one shoots a 64 in a PGA tournament, walks off the course and says, you know, everything was happening really quickly out there today. Kobe doesn't score 50 points in an NBA playoff game and walk off the court at the end of the night and say, you know, everything was moving really quickly. No one goes 4 for 4 in the World Series at bat and says, you know what, everything was moving very fast. What do they say? Everything slowed down. The reason why they say that is they have to say that. From a neurophysiological perspective, the only way to produce fluid, effortless motion in the body is if time is experienced as moving slow. The second thing that they'll say is, I wasn't thinking. My intellect shut down. Don't ask me what I did. I don't know. I played out of my mind. I was mindless. Why do all athletes, regardless of levels of play, describe the experience of being in the zone and playing well, and they say, I wasn't thinking at all? Why? The prefrontal cortex is the intellect. It's the discriminating intellect. And when it captures a signal, the intellect is engaged. It will always feel like you are thinking. And you know that feeling as golfers. When it feels like you're thinking too much, you completely lose fluidity. You completely lose the flow of the swing. There's a wonderful story that Tiger tells in a 3-part DVD called Tracking the Tiger. And it's a very cryptic story. If you didn't understand the neurophysiological prerequisites for producing fluid motion in the body, you would say, well, where'd that come from? It's like a Twilight Zone story. But it's true. Tiger says, and I'm almost quoting, there have been key shots in major tournaments where I took the club out of the bag and I didn't remember anything until I saw the ball land on the green. What? Johnny Miller and Nick Faldo are in the booth, depending on who's broadcasting, NBC or CBS. And they're saying, look at Tiger's focus, look at his determination, look at his will to win, look at his concentration. What is Tiger's experience? It's 180 degrees from that. I took the club out of the bag. I don't remember anything until I saw the ball land on the green. Why does he say that? He says that because his prefrontal cortex never captures the signal throughout the motion. Therefore, the signal is continuously moving to the motor system. The intellect is disengaged. The body is getting instant information about what to do, and that's why he's able to swing, or was able to swing, with abandonment and freedom when he dominated golf for so many years. The third thing that world-class athletes will say when they're playing their best is, the motion was completely fluid and effortless. I didn't even feel the club swing. I didn't even feel the putter move. You're going to hear about that experience when we go through the drills, that people have this experience instantly. Now, the motor system consists of 3 parts, but the most interesting part for us for generating motion is the cerebellum. When the signal goes right to the motor system and is not intercepted by the prefrontal cortex, the cerebellum is in charge of firing the fast twitch muscles. These are the muscles that are responsible for generating tremendous club head speed with minimal effort, or the muscles for having that delicate feeling on the putter. So when the signal goes right to the motor system, the cerebellum is able to fire the fast twitch muscles, then the stroke becomes fluid. So in order to produce this fluid motion, you have to produce this fluidity in the mind. It's not a sports psychology thing. It's not Stephen's take on thing. It's not his philosophy. It's not his understanding. It's a neurophysiological scientific principle. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. Everyone has a mind and everyone has a body. It's called the mind-body connection. And we can say that there are surface levels of the mind, and we can say the mind is like an ocean. We can say that there are quieter levels of the mind. We can also say the same thing about the body. We can say that there are the gross muscles, the bulkier core muscles, which are absolutely necessary in producing motion. But if they dominate the motion looks forced and awkward and not effective. And we can say the body has different layers, different levels, different levels. Then we can say the body has the fast twitch muscles. When you generate a signal from the surface level of the mind, you can only activate the surface gross level of the muscles. But, very fortunately, when you generate an intention from a quiet level of the mind, you have no choice but to fire the fast twitch muscles. So the key point in producing effortless, effective, repetitive, consistent motion, and the key point in this program that you're about to learn, is how to generate intentions from this level of the mind, not from this level of the mind. When someone breaks through in the PGA Tour, or someone wins the major championship, where do you think the intentions are generated from? They all have beautiful, perfect swings. Why does a swing break down? The swing doesn't break down. You can say, okay, yes, he took it too far on the outside, okay? Or yes, he crossed the line. Or yes, he left the club open at impact. Obviously, if you take a video analysis of someone's swing, that's what happened. But why did it happen on that shot and not the shot before or not the shot after? It's because he generated the intention to produce a swing from the surface level of the mind. You will learn how to generate intentions from a quiet level of the mind. Now, the very interesting thing is, it's not the content of the thought. If it was the content of the thought that produced where the intention was generated, then you would just have one universal swing thought, or one swing thought for this round, and then you would just live and breathe in that swing thought. But let's say you have a swing thought for the round. Let's say it's slow at the top. So you're on the 14th tee and you tell yourself slow at the top. You just stripe it down the middle. You get to the 15th tee. Same swing thought. Slow at the top. And you just pull it dead left. You just snap it. Boom. So it's not the content of the thought that the prefrontal cortex motor system body dynamics is interested in. Because if it was, you just get the right thought for that day. It's not what you're thinking, it's how you're thinking. It's from what level of the mind are you generating an intention. This is what took 35 years to figure out and come up with a series of drills that if you do the drill correctly, you will generate the intention from this level of the mind. So the program you are about to learn, very special program, mind off, golf on, mind off, golf on. Actually, you can never really stop thinking, because if you stop thinking, you'd be sleeping. It's just that you're generating the intentions from this level of the mind and not from this level of the mind. Got it? Okay, let's go do some drills.